feet happy. Let's go. Come on. Where my islanders? Can some of y'all run down here to the front real quick? I gotta know who's in the building. Where my islanders? I need y'all to run down here. Come on, let me see ya.
Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success whatever he did. So hopefully that broke it down a little better. So obviously most of us, hopefully all of us, know the story of Joseph. He was betrayed by his own brothers, his family, people who are supposed to have his back. Even though, that should have broke him or could have broken him, and it could have made him say, you know what, I don't want to do this. He still kept his faith. He didn't doubt God in whatever he did because he knew that he had to go through a process to get to where he was. Even when he was sent to prison, he still followed the Lord, and eventually he became in charge of everything. So that just shows God's mercy and grace upon him, and he didn't doubt him at all. So if we just have the faith that Joseph had, we could, conquer everything that comes to our path. It doesn't matter what situation we're in. We could be down here and we were up here all of a sudden because of God. And the higher up we are, the closer of a connection we have with him. And obviously Joseph had to sacrifice some things. He sacrificed his family, but you don't need to be friends with everyone. I feel like the youth really needs to know this. You don't need to be friends with all people. You just need to be friends with the right people. Honestly, even family, bro, I'm sorry, bro. I like to keep it real, but this is church. Okay. Even family sometimes. Not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay. It doesn't matter if you're serving God or not. Some people are gonna talk about you, so you might as well just serve God and be closer to him and get your way into heaven, because that's the only way. Nobody else is gonna do it for you. And as youth, we need to stop trying to fit in, because we're not. For example, I'm a sophomore. I'm about to be a junior, thank God. But I went into this year with but like an army of friends. You can ask my mom. At my birthday party, the house was full. But I came out with like 4 or 5 people beside me that I knew were going to stand by me, and I knew that were going to get me closer to God, because that's what they believed in too. They believed in having faith in God through it all. And it's hard letting people go, but it's a process. I didn't want to let those people go. I had so many memories with them, but it's necessary, because even in high school, people focus so much on having the right friends and being popular and fitting in, but at the end of the day, they're not going to get you money. They're not going to get you to go to college. They're not going to get you through life's journeys. They're not going to know what it's like for you, because that's your story. That's what God has on you. That's God's impact on you. So it's better to just surround yourself with positive people and people who want to get you closer to God, instead of trying to be buddy-buddy with somebody because they're popular or because everyone knows them. It doesn't even have to be just people. Like, I know you can ask my sister. I have my whole entire room is just filled with quotes and pictures of people that, are close to me, and those who I know will be with me through it all, that God has sent me. And sometimes it's harder for the youth to accept this because, even it's not even just high school, it's middle school and it's elementary school. It's hard to be the odd person out. But you have to go through it. Not everyone's gonna like you. It doesn't matter. It's okay. You still got God. You still have the family that loves you through everything. You still got the whole family here. That support yesterday that we showed, that was amazing. Like, we pulled all that off. Like, that was great. That touched me. I'm proud of you guys. I don't know. But we have to learn to think long term. We have to know what's best for us. Another part of the process to being closer to God is not only understanding, but it's trust. We have to learn that God knows what He's doing, and to stop trying to take over everything ourselves. We need to stop trying to, God's going this way. We're like, no, I think it's better to go this way. God knows what He's doing. Let Him control your life. Just let Him give you wisdom on why is this happening, or how to get through it. Many people use the story of Jesus calming the sea as a story of lack of faith. But if we can go to Mark 4:35 to 41. So this is the King James Version. And the same day when the even was come, and He said unto them, let us pass over unto the other side. And He went and sent a multitude, and took with Him even as He was on the ship. And they were also with Him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And He was in the hinder of the ship, asleep on the pillow. And they awake Him, and said unto Him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And He arose and rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto him, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said to one another, In this manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey Him. So this is NIV. That day, when evening came, Jesus said to the disciples, Let us go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took with Him along, just as He was in the boat. There was also other boats with Him. A furious squall came, and waves broke over the boat, so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on the cushion. The disciples woke Him and said unto Him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, Quiet, be still. Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to the disciples, Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? They were terrified and asked each other, Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey Him. So we can obviously look at this as a story of faith, but if you saw how quickly the disciples ran to Jesus and how quickly they were like, look at this, look at what we're going through. So they obviously messed up when they didn't have faith, but the fact that they immediately went to Jesus, that's what we need to do. We need to, in any situation, we need to immediately go to Him. We don't need to be like, oh, well, let's just try this first, let's just try that first. No, we need to immediately go into prayer, and we need to immediately pray that, God stops the storm, or if He wants you to learn something out of it besides, going to Him, we need to say, God, give us wisdom on how to get through this, tell us how to steer the ship. They didn't, waste time trying to immediately fix it, because they knew that if they did, that they weren't going to come out of it. But they immediately ran to Him instead of, trying to fix it with our own flesh. So not only through this story, not only does the Bible tell us what we need to do and steps on how to achieve it, but it also tells us how, like, what not to do, what we shouldn't do. We need to learn from the examples, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't. But if we look at it, we need to understand that it's not always about, oh, people have faith in Jesus. No, it tells you what they did wrong and how they corrected it. So that's what we need to do. We need to compare ourselves to this and find out how to get through it. All about the process. Faith should be a habit, as it is often. But faith should be a habit, but we often struggle with it. Relating to the youth, we struggle in God for coming through with us for our grades or like our social circles. We doubt sometimes, and it's okay because we're still learning. It's all a part of the process. It's all a part of the process. If we, I'm gonna use it. Just hold on. Doubt could have easily, if you take the story of Abraham, doubt could have easily led Abraham to believe that the devil wanted him to sacrifice his son, but because he was spiritual minded, he knew that it was God. Because he stayed trusting in him. He couldn't be like, oh, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do it because this is my only son, and so I kind of wait a long time for this. I think it's the devil. I don't think I'm going to do it. But no, he knew automatically. Doubt is a habit, and the enemy uses it to try to throw us off tracks. Oh, y'all want me to say it again? Okay, I'll say it again. Doubt is a habit, and the enemy uses it to try to throw us off track. We have to use counter arguments to state as to why we know Jesus is with us in our situation. All this year what class was I in? English 2. We were learning about argumentative essays to get us ready for, the FSA. And argumentative essays, it's like the introduction, and then like you state what your argument is, and then the very first paragraph after it, it's the other side and why this side might work. But then you come back with your side and you state why this is going to be better. So that's what we need to do. The counter argument may be our doubt, and it's like, oh, why this wouldn't work, but then we have why this is gonna, work. We need to know why Jesus is with us. We need to know why we're gonna get through our trials. Like, for example, a cardinal argument would be, oh, I'm not gonna pass this test because I'm bad at this subject, and I know it's hard. But then our counter arguments will be, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, Philippians 4:13. If I ask for wisdom, God will give it to me, James 1:5. God will never give me something I can't handle, 1 Corinthians 10:13. Our evidence, we always have to use evidence. You can never go through anything without evidence. Our evidence is this. This is our evidence. When we doubt God, we hinder our blessing. If we look at Jeremiah 33:2-3, thus said the Lord, the maker thereof, the Lord that formeth it to establish it, the Lord is his name. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. So, the NIV version. Okay. This is what the Lord says. He who made the earth, the Lord who formed it and established it, the Lord is his name. Call unto me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. So we see that, formed and established is us, being God forming us as human beings. It's critical how we were formed. It's very critical. It's very detailed. You have everything inside your body working to make sure that you're functioning properly, and even our personalities. Everything is to make sure that we are us. Like, there's nobody else like us. So looking at the anatomy of our human body and how our personalities work, if God can take the time to form and to create such complex and beautiful creatures like you all, why do we doubt that He won't take the time to bring us out of our situation? You know? And this is really, I was looking at I have the Bible app, and I was looking at the verse of the day because I like to read that every day before I do something. And this is Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So God already knows what He has for us. God already knows. It's just us. We need to follow along with it. It's nothing that, God made a mistake. God doesn't make mistakes. We all know that. Everything happens for a reason. I remember when I was going to take the test for Valencia. Y'all thought I passed that the first time. No, I took that last year and I didn't pass. So I was doubting that I wasn't gonna get it again because I really didn't remember what was on it from last time. But guess what's going to Valencia? But because of my faith and because I trusted in God, I understood that I need to go through it the first time to know, the process of it, how everything worked in the test. So, I had time to prepare for it the next time. So sometimes it doesn't, always have to be, a test, but we always go through something. If we don't pass the test once, God will give it to us again until we pass it. He always makes us redo it. I wish teachers were like that, to be honest, because I would have better grades, but that's okay. The final factor for today is so necessary, and you can't do any of the other things without it. The final factor is peace. You have to have peace. It's so crucial in understanding and enduring your process, because without it, drama and confusion will enter your process, and it'll throw you off track. It's done. You're done. And you're gonna be delayed. You're gonna be delayed, and God's trying to get you through something a certain amount of time. If you keep hindering it, God's gonna be like, well, they did this to themselves. If they don't want to follow me, they're gonna just have to figure it out themselves. I can't. Of course, I love them, but I can't just keep coming through for them like this. You have to learn. So, as long as you decide that, okay, well, I can just keep doing this, and I'll just ask God for forgiveness later. That's not how it works. You have to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this every day for God. I'm going to go to church every Sunday and listen and take in what Apostle says, and I'm going to use it in my life every day, because I know that'll get me to where I need to be. Okay. But you have to have peace to be in line with God. So if we can go to Ephesians 4:2-6. Ephesians 4:2-6. Okay. There is one body and one Spirit, even as ye are called to one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. So, Ephesians 4:2-6. Okay, so be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep unity in the Spirit through the bond of peace. Catch that. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to one faith, one hope, when you were called, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one Father and God of all, who is over all and through all and in all. So everything should be on one accord. It's a cycle. what you do here at church affects you at work. What you do at work affects you at home, and it's a process. It's a whole cycle. You can't just live all holy here, and then at home you're just like, oh, you know what? Yes, exactly. It all has to fall in line. So if you're all cranky and stuff at work, it's going to follow you home, and it's going to follow you at church, and it's going to spread to everybody. And eventually, it's going to kill everything. And then God's going to be like, I don't want to be here. So he's going to find somebody who is going to live for him and spread his word positively. If you do it all mean and, people, that's why a lot of people who are in the church kind of don't want to be, because they believe, oh, everybody that is in the church likes to pressure me, and everybody is so negative, and you have to dress like this and walk like this. It shouldn't have to be like that. We should all be loving and welcome and accept. Yes, exactly. And even in school, everybody has their own little cliques. But if you're not inviting and saying, oh, hey, you're new, let me show you around, or come to lunch with me instead of, eating all by yourself, you have to be able to love them and show them how it's supposed to be, how love is supposed to be given out, but it has to be in a peaceful manner. And this is why it's so important to be careful what you do and who you associate yourself with. It's also important to remember that we don't have to react to everything right away. Some things are for us to just sit and watch, That's why back there, I just kind of sit and I'm just like I'll listen to the music and I'm just like, yeah, I like this. Because everyone's worshiping, everyone's engaging, and it's peaceful. It's nice. I like it. If something happens, don't react out of anger. I had to learn about that. Because I'm the type of person, okay, if you come after me, if you say something about me, it's okay. Because like I said, everyone's going to talk about you. But if you come after my family, that's, ooh, don't do that. But I had to sit and I had to watch, and I had to be like, oh, well, maybe this person is like this because they don't have like what I have. They don't have a family who loves them and supports them through everything that they do. So you have to sit and watch why people are the way they are. Some people are mean because, they were just surrounded by negative, they weren't surrounded by love that we have in here. But sometimes as we go through life, we do get overwhelmed and we retaliate and we end up in worse situations, and these situations lead us to depression, and later if it gets bad enough, the devil likes to come in and you commit suicide. That's been getting really bad lately. I've been like noticing, and it's not just in high school, it's going to middle school, it's going to these little kids who don't even know what they want to be yet. That's why we need to start praying, and we need to tell our kids, hey, it might be bad right now, but you have to look at, the future. You have to look at what you're going to be. Apostle has prophesied, that we're going to be great things. If you stay on track and you focus, this is what you're going to be. And everyone that looked down upon you is suddenly going to be looking up, That's how it was with Joseph, right? But as people, we cry sometimes when things happen and it hits us hard, But we have to be careful, because it's okay to cry. It's okay. We have emotions. You don't have to be rock solid all the time. But it comes to a point where you just simply put yourself down. Some things happen, but if you keep putting yourself down, then it's not gonna, you have to learn to think positively. And if you keep crying, and if you just keep being bitter, eventually your tears are going to cloud your eyes, and that's when the devil likes to strike. It's going to cover your eyes, and that's how it gets through you. Because at our moment of weakness, he's gonna come, he's gonna hit you, and it's gonna be harder than what you expected it to be. But if you latch onto God and you have strength in him, then it's not gonna be as hard, and you're gonna be like, you know what, let's get this off of me, we're vulnerable, we sometimes things capture our attention, and we have to learn to focus. We have to focus, because if we don't, then it's a downward spiral. We have to learn to keep our trust in God, because if you don't, you're going to be looking this way, and God's going to be trying to get your attention, and eventually it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. Not only do we need to be cautious of ourselves, but of others too. This is why people don't have peace, because they're trying to bring peace to other people's lives, and eventually starting more drama. So you may be trying to, fix a friendship or whatever, and you're saying, oh, well, this person said this and this person said that, and you're trying to make it better, but in reality, you're just making it worse. So let God do what he needs to do, and let him focus on that situation, and you just be there for support. Be there to be like, okay, well, instead of, talking about each other and me passing these, rumors back and forth, let's pray, and let's pray for peace, and let's pray for unity, because at the end of the day, if you don't have peace and you don't have unity, then everything else is just going to fall with it. This is where Apostle's definition of serpent spirit comes to play. Drama seems to be everywhere, but in our attempt to help, we transfer those spirits ourselves. This is why we need to constantly chase the Lord. We need to be distracted with God. Our process to better things doesn't start until we accept the Lord. Along with acceptance, we need to be established in an area where it's easy to want more of God. As soon as you step foot in the right ministry, your process begins. I remember once I got lunch detention. I didn't even do anything. There was somebody, saying something, and I laughed. I was just like, ha. And he was like, lunch detention. I was just kind of like, okay. And at first, I was like, man, I'm not gonna go. Because this teacher doesn't like anybody. But then we started coming here, and my mom was like, obedience is better than sacrifice. And I was like, so I went, and I learned to I was just like, let me just do my work for the rest of this year and get out of here, because, but if I did be disobedient and not follow, what my mom has said that she learned from this church, then I probably would have gotten in more trouble. He probably would have been like 2 days detention, 3 days detention, and it would have just been out of control. So if we can turn to 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. And that's actually the same thing it says in this Bible. So, but once we step foot in a good ministry where we know that God is going to use us, everything that was in our past, it suddenly, as soon as we walk through the door, it comes off. It's like a little portal. Everything that, was old, everything that was dragging you down, it sheds off. That's why you have to be careful what church you go to and whose house you go to, especially, because then it's going to latch on to you, and then you're going to leave with it, and it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your family, and it's going to affect everyone you know. And if you come back in here with it, we're going to have to pray it off, and it's going to be a whole process, and you're going to, no. But we also have to remember that not everyone goes through the same process. Everyone has a different story. God is doing different things in different people. So we can't judge people for being upset if something happens, because it may have happened to us, but we deal with it differently. So we have to learn to just support. Keep the peace. This world, it's getting crazy, but we have to learn to keep the peace. Okay, so, but nevertheless, understanding peace and trust is universal for all. As we end the school year and enter a new one, understand that everything happens for a reason, and I encourage all of the youth and all of the parents to follow God's plan and purpose for you, because even as adults, your story isn't over. God has greater things for you too. It's not just us. So, because of all the amazing futures we have ahead of us, we all have to learn to obey and trust and follow Christ. So I'm almost done, but I remember somebody in my second period told me this. She said, if all your friends jump off a cliff, don't follow them. Instead, learn from their mistakes and build a bridge. And I pray you guys are blessed by that.